Welcome. It's been about 7 months since I've done anything. No podcasts or anything have been recorded since then. I would like to change that. I'd like to start recording them again. But I had an idea to basically do a video detailing the history of my 240SX ownership with this car and my old car included. I have a blog that details most of this car, but I think I'm actually going to shut that down. I enjoy writing it, but I don't think anyone really reads it, and it's money out of my pocket every month to pay for the website. So I think I'm going to shut that down, and in this video I'll sum up everything from the blog, pretty much. Sum all that up, and I'll put pictures on screen and stuff like that. I took a ton of pictures that are all on the blog, so I have all those still that I will, display over as the video progresses. So yeah, in the fall of 2020, I got my license, and shortly after I bought my first car, which was a 1993 Nissan 240SX. It was a bone stock coupe, had 67,000 miles, I believe. Never modified, anything like that. It was really nice. Bought it for $4,000, which in 2020 at that time was insane. When I made that offer and it was accepted, I had to jump on it immediately. Picked it up local too, which was nice. So yeah, I bought that car and drove it around stock for a while. Went and visited my girlfriend at college a couple times. Yeah, I enjoyed it stock for a few months. First mod I ended up doing, I put a bucket seat in there, I believe. And then in the spring of 2021, I started really actually delving into it. I got some stance coilovers for it. I got some 15-inch wheels for it. And then shortly after that, early summer kind of, I got aero for it. I got a front lip to go with the Chuki bumper, some Supermade style side skirts, and a Bomex rear valence. So that was the look I was going with for a while. Never ended up actually paint matching any of it, which sucks, but I enjoyed it. I loved it. I went out to Woodward every week nearly and cruised around. Had ice cold AC, which was nice. Took it on road trips, did all kinds of stuff with that car. The fall of 2021, I ended up selling the car. I think at the time the money sounded nice. And I kind of wanted to simplify things and just get a normal car for a while, I think. That's what I told myself anyway. And then I ended up buying a drift car with that money. Never drifted it. And then kept buying and selling cars for about a year. Not even. It was like 8 months maybe. I think I bought and sold about 4 different cars. I had 2 G35s, both set up for drifting. Never drifted either of them. An E46 BMW, and was that it? That may have been it. Yeah, that was it. So, had those. The green G35, which was the second one I had that in the summer of 2022. I actually ended up trading it for this. Traded it for this in July of 2022, and then immediately started digging into this a little bit. The car had a half cage, which I didn't love because there was no interior really in the rear, and I knew I wanted to put interior back into it. I wanted the car to be nice and comfortable and as quiet as possible on the street. So I ended up cutting the cage out. There were some weird rust spots on the floor in the car, where there was like little gashes in the metal that you could see through to the bottom. It almost looked like it just got like stabbed with something. So a friend of mine, Connor McEwen, he welded those holes for me. He also cut the cage out. And then from there, took the car home, cleaned up the floor pan where that rust was, cleaned up the welds, PR15 coated all the floor, and then put sound deadening from trunk to front everywhere in the rear. From there, I put brand new carpet in the car. I'd painted some of the interior panels with the SEM trim black, that stuff. That paint is awesome for interior stuff. Painted a bunch of things with that. Sourced some S14 seats, put those in the car. and just basically made it as comfortable as I could. And I ended up actually trading the new owner of my coupe the wheels that came with this car, just some XXR wheels, for the 15s that were on my coupe. So I rocked those on here for a little bit. And then, yeah, just drove the car around for maybe 2 months, 3 months. And then parked it for the winter time. It just sat in my apartment complex's parking lot. I put it under a cover, sat there for the winter. And then in the spring of 2023, my girlfriend and I moved into a townhome with a 2-car garage. So basically, the day I brought the hatch there, I started tearing into this car. Ended up tearing, I think it originally was just going to be the rear subframe. I wanted to just do new bushings and give the whole rear subframe a nice little refresh. But it quickly spiraled, and I ended up pulling the rear subframe, pulling everything out of the interior, pulled the engine and the whole front cross member, everything, all of the suspension, steering stuff, all of that. Pulled everything, ended up repainting the rear wheel wells with some undercoating, and then tore into the engine bay. There was, at one time, I believe it was the previous owner said there was an SR20 in here at one time. So there was intercooler piping holes on the left and right side in the front of the engine bay, one of which went right through the battery tray. So ended up drilling out all the spot welds for the battery tray, taking that out, and then once again, Connor McEwen, or McEwen Motorsports, he welded in some plates to fill those holes, and then also welded on some laser cut pieces to repair the strut towers on either side. If you know S13s, you know they're prone to rusting on the tops of the strut towers. So we welded in those patch kits, and from there I just started prepping to paint the engine bay. Hold on, there's a car coming. Whatever. Anyway, wherever I left off before the car came through here, repaired the strut towers, fixed that up, and then just started prepping the engine bay for paint. Prepped it, did primer, did not sand the primer like an idiot. Then I did base and clear, all rattle can. Came out pretty good. Looked a lot better than it did before that, that's for sure. So from there, started working on the suspension stuff. Did 5-lug on the car, put these G33 wheels on it, did new rotors, whatever, repainted the Z32 calipers, just prettied everything up, put brand new coilovers on it, new bushings in all the suspension arms that weren't already adjustable or had Heim joints. And then after that was all done and the car was a roller, I put the engine in, and the car had a Wiring Specialties engine harness, which was pretty nice for putting everything back together. It made it very easy. Things are labeled and stuff like that. So I was able to wire the car back up, rolled it outside, and it started first try, no issues or anything. Went up to temp, coolant bled very well. And then I think that night I went and took it for the first drive. Which went great. The temps were great. Car drove really well. The new bushings changed the feel of the car completely. It was so smooth, still is to this day. So yeah, the only gripe with the first drive was the exhaust was dragging everywhere. So I ended up raising the car, I think 10 millimeters all the way around. So yeah, after that was done, I basically just drove the car around the rest of the summer, because I was happy to have a fun car to cruise around again. The only issue was it was ugly. It had some gray fenders, gray pig nose bumper, a black hood, and the car was like flat white painted everywhere else. So it wasn't a pretty look, that's for sure. Did not look great. But I drove it around like that, rocked it. Went to Damon or Cambrion Bronze. I went to his barbecue. He has a barbecue every year that a bunch of us local Michigan guys go to with our 240s, and we talk shop, catch up, whatever. The first one, I actually went without a 240 because I didn't have one. So it was really special to actually go with an S chassis, and it was just after I had done all of that work. So it was really fun being able to show everybody and talk about it. So yeah, I went to that, and then in October, I actually signed up to go drifting. Went to my first drift event ever with this car. I've had shot them. I did media at drift events for years before that, but finally signed up as a driver. Got this thing ready, got everything done, looked through the tech sheet religiously, ended up passing with flying colors, which was nice. Drove the first drift event. It was really fun. It was really cold. It was wet and rainy, so that sucked, but the heat worked great, so it was fine. The car did amazing in second gear the whole day because it was wet. But I knew I would need to do something about the gearing to drive again and in the dry. And after that event, they had posted up that they were going to do one late November as well, kind of a Thanksgiving type of thing. And I was like, I'm going to sign up for that too. So I signed up and then was trying to source a 4.9 or 4.6 diff for the car. Ended up finding someone local with a 4.9 that had already been assembled. Bought that, put that in the car before the second event. Was really nervous about street driving it to the event. Street drive it about hour and a half to get there on the highway. I just wasn't sure how it was going to go with the 4.9 on the highway. Really wasn't that bad, just noisy. Drove that second event. Car did awesome. The 4.9 felt amazing. It was really good for the track I was driving. So very happy with it. Was happy with the car. Was not wet and rainy that time. It was very cold, but I think it was still felt warmer than it did at the first one just because it was not wet all day. Basically, after that, parked the car for the winter in the garage. Started doing little body work, bits and bobs here and there. Nothing too intrusive. Just kind of started sanding and everything like that. Wasn't really sure where I was going to go with it. Was kind of back and forth on if I was going to paint or wrap. But once I realized, like, to do vinyl wrap, while yes, the wrap is a little more inexpensive, the same amount of body work required to paint the car is required to wrap it, essentially. So I decided I was just going to go with paint. Started doing body work. And then just end of May this year, got the body all painted. And then I ordered aero shortly after. Got the aero here. That got painted. And then just drove a 2-day drift event a couple weeks ago. Car did awesome. It's a blast. This thing was really fun. I upped the tire size in the front, which I don't know if... I was having issues the first day. Ended up changing some setup stuff around, and the car felt way better. But I'm just happy to have a complete car at this point. It's a blast to drive. I'm very happy with it. And I think I'll be keeping it a while just because, you know, I've put a ton of time, ton of money, ton of sweat, blood for sure. Had to get re-upped on my tetanus shot because of this car. I've done too much to get rid of it. It's gonna have to stick with me for a long time now, until I either outgrow the chassis or I total it. So yeah, that's pretty much the story. It's Dodge Viper Yellow. It's I think it's Viper Speed Yellow is the color name from Dodge. Looking back, I wish I did whatever the yellow is that the R34s could come in, just because then it was at least manufacturer correct. But still looks good. I like it. I'm pretty happy with the yellow. I didn't know how it would look, but I'm actually quite stoked with it. So yeah, I plan on doing more podcasts soon, and I might make some more little YouTube videos here and there on the car or on S chassis in general. I don't really know. If there's anything you'd want to see, drop a comment, and I'll maybe I'll do it. If there's any people you want me to do a podcast with, drop a comment, and maybe I'll reach out and do it. That's pretty much it. I just want to make a quick video about my Schassis history, because I've had quite a time with these cars. It's only been a few years, but I've done quite a bit with them in that time, and I enjoy them a lot, and everybody should buy one because they're the best. And they come with God's motor as well, which is always good. Yeah, I'm just rambling at this point, so let me know what you think in the comments. Give me feedback. I love feedback. I like reading if you guys like the stuff or you hate it. Be honest. Yeah, make sure you follow the Instagram too. I don't know it offhand to a T, so I'll just put it in on the screen or whatever, and I'll link it below. And same with the Spotify, because once I start doing the podcasts again, you'll be able to find out when I upload them from Instagram. Yeah, that's all I've got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't really have like an outro, so I'm just going to say goodbye.